Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and welcome to my Friday video where I talk about things that I've read in my Facebook group this week and on the forums in general. And the two topics that I want to talk about after my intro spam are going to be a thread from Reddit which is entitled "Would you guys say online poker is dead?" and then a post from my Facebook group discussing kind of volume and motivation. So they're the two topics for the session, and hopefully you guys will get something from listening to my thoughts on them. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank again all the people that have subscribed to my videos, to my channel recently. I've had quite an upsurge in subscribers. I think it's mostly down to one video that seems to have just set on fire, which is a video I put up ages ago where I just kind of recorded a clip from a high stakes poker game with Jennifer Tilly in it. Got a lot of subscribers. Not sure if they come from there or not, but who cares? We're getting closer and closer to the 1,000. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do hit it. I'd like to get to 1,000 by Christmas. I'm very much on target for that now, but I'm going to need to keep encouraging people to subscribe to make sure that I get there. Secondly, if you wouldn't mind ever so much hitting the like button on the video too, that'd be pretty nice. And the more likes videos get, the more YouTube kind of pushes them, and then the more people YouTube pushes them, the more subscribers I might get, etc, etc, etc. So please hit the like button, hit the comments, ask me any questions you want to ask me, and just get involved. Try and make it as interactive as possible. One final thing, I still am, as I always am, looking for more and more people to work with as part of my side income. I enjoy working with and mentoring mostly recreational players who just want to get a little bit better at poker, want to polish up the fundamentals, want to go from being maybe a losing or break-even player to being a winning player. If you fit that profile and you've never had coaching before, please do take a look at my website, look at my pricing. I'm sure you'll find it's very reasonable, and it's very low risk. If you take one session and you don't enjoy it, you risk $30. It's not the end of the world. It's not like you're going to be super exploited by it. It's a small risk for what could for a lot of people be a very large reward in the long term. So again, if you are thinking about getting some help with your game, if you stumbled on my channel looking for help with micro-stakes poker, then just consider getting in touch with me and having a chat to see if we could maybe do some work together. So without further ado, now we'll get on with the first topic of the video, which is, would you guys say that online poker is dead? That was a comment, that was a question posted to Reddit around Monday this week, something like that, maybe very start of October. And there's various comments in the section to answer it. Mostly people saying it's not dead, it's just a lot tougher than it was, and that's broadly where I stand on this subject. It's dead to me in certain areas, and I think there's certain things that are happening within the game that are making certain aspects of the game die, and that's games where people, in my opinion, can play too many hands per hour and kind of make the whole poker experience pretty dull for recreational players. And I'm talking mostly about speed poker games, and they are starting to die. There's no doubt about that. Speed poker, it's still going strongly, but it's not going as strong as it was, if you will. And the reason I'm saying things like that is that numbers for these games are dropping all over the place. You now can't get a game above 10-0 full ring on PokerStars. When Zoom first came out, 200-0 was going, 100-0 was going, 50-0 was thriving, 20-0 was 25-0 was thriving. Now 25-0 just seems to have stopped running, and I know this because I've been maybe thinking of adding it to a mix now and again, and it barely goes. It occasionally goes, then it just stops again after a few hours. And yep, I know that's full ring, and full ring's always going to die before 6 max does, etc. But the numbers all over the place in fast ball cash games, they're just dropping. I look at PokerScout pretty regularly. I look at the lobbies of various sites. 30-0 on 888 Snap is definitely dying. 50-0 is kind of surviving a little bit. 100-0 doesn't always run anymore, and the 5-0 and 10-0 games still go a lot. And I think what we're seeing over the course of time is people just getting squeezed down and down limits. people who used to be slight winners and break even because games are getting tougher. More and more like recreational and weaker players are dropping out of the pools. So therefore, the guys that used to have the 2-3 big blind win rates are now finding themselves becoming break even or losing at the higher stakes they used to play. So they're being forced down and they're getting lots more players. Also, not maybe getting lots more players in the micro stakes pools, but they're certainly holding their numbers way better than the higher stakes games are. And I think that is a trend that will continue until like speed poker kind of just becomes the domain almost exclusively of like nano stakes. I can see like eventually like 50NL Zoom being one of like the bigger Zoom games that runs. Not necessarily that, of course, 100NL and 2 are still going to go, but I can see the pools dropping and dropping and dropping. I think though that it's going to continue compressing downwards in the lower stakes. And whether that continues into regular tables or not, I don't know. I think people are going to stretch into PLO. I think some players are going to move from cash games to tournaments. I don't think these guys are just going to stop playing poker, but I think they're going to spread themselves far and wide, and where the most of online cash game poker used to be concentrated pretty much exclusively in the PokerStars Zoom pools, and I feel they're going to dissipate, and players are just going to migrate all over the internet to different game types, to different genres, to different sites, all kinds of things. So, is online poker dead? No, of course not. Is it slowly dying? I don't think it'll ever die. Well, who knows? Maybe it will if legislation changes a lot. But I think there'll always be like a desire and like a market for online poker. But is it going to be like it was in the boom days? No. Are we ever going to get a boom again? Seems unlikely. I think that the things we need to get a boom again, well, the two most important things would be getting rid of all these like segregation, having the US, French, Italian, Spanish, Australian, all those guys coming back into a global pool. If some site can find a way around that and go mainstream, so I don't know how you do that. I don't know if you do it with a cryptocurrency or just using certain e-wallets. I don't know, but if some site can get around that and create a truly international, all-inclusive site that's got good software, good support, etc., etc., I think we could like see games have somewhat of a revival. We also need like the world's economy to pick up too. We need more people having more money in their pockets. I mean, games started dying around 2008, 2009, where we had the global financial crisis, and they've kind of got progressively worse since then. So we need people having more money in their pockets. So at the risk of getting too political, we need a little bit more like money going to the pockets of some of like the less well-off people in the world, so they can have some more spending money, some more recreational money, so they can actually afford to play poker online, things like that. And we need to break down some of the barriers that are stopping poker being like a truly global competition on online sense. So those are two things I think we need to happen. And I think, yeah, poker can have a lot of legs in it still. I play a lot on Sky, a little bit less on Unibet, and there's still recreational players out there. The problem is the way the poker market's set up at the moment, it's not set up for giving them any kind of bang for their buck. They lose their money so quickly these days, and I think it just dissuades people from depositing and redepositing, and that's kind of some of the problem poker's got. It needs to find a way of letting recreational players get more play from their money. If they deposit £50 or £100 or $100, giving them like 10 hours off 20 hours play for their money, and not giving them, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours before they like just get felted in cash games or what have you. So I think we need to cater more towards recreational players. I think regs have had their own way too long. Everything they've ever asked for since kind of like the start of the boom they've had. Remember when PokerStars first came out, it had a really slow deal. There was no Zoom tables. It was, you know, it was really hard to get like up to like 400 hands per hour, and regs wanted faster deals, so PokerStars kept making software faster and faster and faster. Then they brought Zoom in and etc., and they've catered too much to the regulars. I think Stars are trying to drag that back now, but I don't think they're trying to drag it back for the good of poker. They're just trying to drag it back for themselves, because I think they're fed up of the regulars getting the lion's share of recreational players' deposits, and they just want more of that back for themselves, which is completely understandable. But I think they could do it in a way that helps both themselves and recreational players get more bang for the buck, rather than just bringing games where it lowers everybody's edge and they just collect more rake. So that was my opinion on the state of poker right now. and we're going to move on to a question about volume. So this is a question that was talked about volume in my Facebook group. If you want to find the Facebook group, if you go to Facebook, just search for Reggie Micro 6 Poker Group, you'll find it there. Please do come and join in. Just be sure to read the rules at the top. Make sure that we keep it all nice and friendly. No abuse. A debate is actively encouraged. Abuse is just zero tolerance. So a gentleman called Tom posted a question. So I have a question about volume. I have a problem of probably leaving tables early into sessions. I find I can happily sit out a 10 to 12 hour session playing live poker, but when it comes to online, I struggle to push past the first hour whilst mostly tabling. I've tried changing how many tables I play. Used to play 12 on party, now I play a max of 9 on Unibet, ranging from 4 to 9 tables. Do others in the group also struggle to keep focus and continue the grind? Or do people have ways of coping, or do you put breaks into your sessions? So Tom asked a lot of questions there that I think we've all asked ourselves from time to time. So I'm going to give my take on how to try and keep your volume up with online poker. And I'm going to start with the caveat that my volume isn't anywhere near what it used to be, but that isn't because I've gone off online poker, anything like that. It's just that I now have less time to play. I used to play tons. I used to have like a full-time job that I didn't do any extra work in, and then I come home and just play a lot of poker. Now I work part-time and I do quite a lot of work for myself. I do coaching and other things, so I have less time to play now than I ever had. So my volume has dropped, but I think I'm still very experienced and really qualified to answer Tom's question, given my own experiences and all the conversations I've had with students and just other players that I've known down the years. So we'll tackle them one by one, and in the order of how Tom asked them. So first of all, he's saying, do others in the group struggle to keep focus and continue the grind? And I'd say yes, absolutely. I'd say struggling to retain your focus and play long sessions is a problem that lots and lots of players have. And that can be for a number of reasons, I think. If we're constantly playing in really tough, intense, fast-fold poker, I think it's absolutely essential that you manage your time wisely and you manage yourself wisely, giving yourself regular breaks to just get a break from the intensity. If you're the kind of guy who just wants to bang, let's do 4 tables of whatever limits of Zoom and do it for 4 hours straight, I think you're going to find it incredibly hard to keep that schedule on a long-term basis and retain a decent level of play by your standards or by anyone's standards. I think you're asking too much of yourself. I think you're going to burn out really, really quickly. I'm not saying it's impossible to high volume in start and Zoom or fast forward games whilst doing it over long hours. It's definitely possible, but you also need to concentrate on the quality of your play too, because what can happen to a lot of people is they can work really hard. They can put really long hours in thinking that they're working really hard, playing maybe their B-, C+ sort of game most of the time, kind of just about scraping a profit with a little bit of rake back, and just not knowing where things are going wrong and thinking that they're doing, I need to improve, when a lot of the time the results would improve if they just managed their time better, if they just took regular breaks, if they didn't try and just smash out 4 or 5 hours a day in one long session. I think you've got to ask yourself what's more important to you. Is it win rate? Is it hourly rate? Is it progressing to the limits? And you need to set much better goals. So many people set goals, whether either financial goals or their volume-related goals. And I think volume-related goals can be okay, but they need to be set against the premise of looking after yourself and not just, I can physically play 4 hours a day, I can physically do 1,000 hands per hour, so therefore I want to be having 120, 130,000 hands a month. I think that's kind of a goal. Yeah, you can physically do it, but is it that going to be best for you? Or are you going to be saying, you know what, I can play 4 hours a day, or I can set 4 hours a day aside for poker, but of that I'm going to have 1 hour rest in between. I'm going to maybe do, 3:45 or 4:45-minute sessions. What would that be? That would be 3 hours, would it? I think. Maybe. Anyway, something like that. And I'm going to have lots of punctuate that with maybe 3 20-minute breaks. Something like that. or I'm going to set 6 hours aside and play just 4 of them, and just look after yourself. Make sure that you're not putting too many bad hours in and bad times in, because if you do that, you just end up being a busy fool. So yeah, figure out how much time you can commit to poker, but then just say, and I'm going to play poker all of that time with a little bit of study. You need to factor some rest into that too. You wouldn't go to work and do an 8-hour shift all day without a break. You'd be saying to your boss, look, you've been an arsehole, I need a rest here, I need to recharge my batteries. It's absolutely the same when you're playing online poker. You need to treat yourself well, as you're your own employee, so you need to treat yourself as you would want to be treated as an employee if you're working in a factory, or if you're working, I don't know, in a garage or something. Any job where it's like you're constantly working, you need to rest. You need to rest your physical muscles. If you're working on a building site, you need to rest your mental muscles if you're doing like office work or lots of IT based work. And it's the same with poker. You need to rest sometimes. It's not good enough to say, I can do 28 hours per week, so I'm going to play 28 hours non-stop. If 28 hours is what you can dedicate to poker, then maybe you should be saying, well, I'm going to play 22 hours of that, and I'm going to have 6 hours rest in there. And you can maybe use your rest periods to just watch some videos, to watch some strategy stuff, to do whatever. You don't have to just rest and do nothing poker related, but you can maybe just slow down a little bit, give yourself a break, take some time, and just watch something on YouTube, poker related, or if you've got a subscription to Run It Once or Upswing, watch a little bit of that. Who knows? Just give yourself a rest away from clicking your mouse, constantly thinking. Allow yourself to switch off and like play several small sessions in a day, hopefully refreshed at the start of each session. So that's how I would say how to manage your time when doing it, and I think that will help you with your motivation too, because hopefully your results will be better doing that, and you won't be as susceptible to burning out. So yeah, he also asked about how do people put breaks into your session? Do people put breaks into your sessions? If Tom's asking that question, I'm suggesting that I'm guessing that he doesn't put too many breaks into his sessions. I think breaks are absolutely essential, but I also think you need to be fair to yourself too. If sometimes you log in or you feel yourself going to open a poker client and just thinking, you know what, I'm not feeling it today, I can't be bothered, but I need to grind these hours because I've set some arbitrary number that I need to grind to. That could be dangerous too. You've got to be fair to yourself, you've got to be kind to yourself. I came from work last night, I was very tired, I had a long shift, stressful shift at work. One of the guys I'm working with was quite elevated all shift. It was quite difficult. He presented with a lot of behaviours that presented challenges, and I came home from work and I had something to eat, and I kind of just felt tired, but I thought, I've not played poker all day, I want to put a session in. So I fired up Poker Stars and autopiloted through 20 minutes of 25 in our Zoom and lost like a bind and a half. I quickly caught myself and stopped me continuing the session because it was just awful. I wasn't thinking. I still had things going through my head about work, about could I have handled some situations differently, etc, etc. I was just not ready to play poker, but I did anyway because I kind of thought, you know what, I want to play some poker. But deep down, I probably didn't want to play. I probably would have been kinder to myself last night to come home, have the curry, and just relax and watch a DVD and do something non-poker related and just unwind. I didn't do that, and I paid the price. Fair enough, it was only like $30 that I lost, but that's still $30 now I have to make back before I start making money again because it was a mistake to play. So yeah, you need to be alert. You need to be aware of your state of mind. Do you really want to play right now? Do you want to play? Are you going to play because you feel you have to play, or are you going to play because you actually want to play? If you force yourself to play, I think most of the time you're going to end up putting some bad sessions in. You've got to know your body, you've got to know your mind, and sometimes no session is better than a bad session. It's a bit like if you're in the UK or in Europe, you'll have heard a lot of like no deal is better than a bad deal regarding Brexit, etc. Well, in poker terms, no session is better than a bad session. So if you feel like before you log in, it's not going to work out for you, or you're just not in the zone, you can tell you've got things on your mind, you're tired or whatever, just maybe have the session, have the mantra running through your head. No session is better than a bad session. If we can avoid putting 3 or 4 of these bad sessions in per month when we're logging in and just playing when we're not feeling it, that can make a huge difference. If every one of them, say for example, you lost at say 5 big blinds to 100 when your win rate's normally positive 5 blinds to 100, if you can not do 5,000 hands less of that a month, it's going to save you 5 buy-ins a month. And as what's he called? Mike Carroll once said, back in Super System 2, money saved spends just as well as money earned does and money won does. So saving yourself money by not starting sessions when you're not in the zone or when you feel you're not going to be able to achieve getting in the zone, that's a good thing to do. Don't force yourself to play because you set some arbitrary, ill thought out figure. Just because you think you can play 28 hours a week, sometimes maybe you can't. Sometimes that week you're only fit to put in 16 hours, and maybe other weeks you're fit to put in 32 to 35 hours. Just listen to your body more. Don't force yourself to meet goals over small sample sizes. If you say I can play 80 hours in a month, maybe some weeks, maybe you have 2 30-hour weeks and maybe you have 2 10-hour weeks. Who knows? It doesn't have to then break down to be 4 20-hour weeks. Just listen to yourself, listen to your mind, and kind of just play when you're feeling it. When you're really hungry and you've got a desire to play, get in there and grind. When you're a bit mentally fatigued or you're feeling a bit burned out, just take it easy on yourself. Give yourself a day off. One of the beauties of being a poker player is kind of your own boss, so you can be flexible within that. And as long as you're not slacking off too much, you can just pick it up and play when you want to, and then not play when you don't want to. So they would be my most things about volume, is start off by making sure you're setting good realistic goals, plan break times into your amount of times to play poker, and then use your breaks to either study with or just completely relax however you want. But if you think you've got 28 hours a week, actually say, well, maybe I'm going to play for 21 of those hours and I'm going to rest for those hours or study within session breaks and things. So manage your time that way. Don't just say I've got 20 hours to dedicate to poker and it's all going to be playing, because resting's an important part of it. So yeah, plan that when you're setting your goals. Set them to plan rest breaks into them. Set your goals that are realistic. Have flexibility within your goals, so you're not like saying I can grind 4 hours per day, so I have to grind 4 hours per day. Set it in a month or in a 2-month period or whatever. So if you think I can play 4 hours a day on average, instead of wanting to play 4 hours a day, say, well, I can play 28 hours per week. Or I can play whatever that's going to add up to a month, like 112 hours a month, is it? Something like that, I'm not sure. That kind of thing. So just goal set more effectively, allow yourself flexibility within the goal setting, and just listen to yourself and take it easy on yourself. So they're my opinions on both of those subjects we've talked about. I hope you guys have got something from it. Hope it's got you thinking a little bit. And if you have any questions based on what I've said on either of these two topics, please don't hesitate to ask, either in Facebook or on the YouTube channel, wherever you find the video. Please just let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Like if you disagree, if you agree, if you'd like me to expand on something, just get in touch. I try and make my channel as interactive as possible. And I'd be delighted to hear from you all. So there we go. We're back early next week, either Monday or Tuesday, with another hand review from James. We haven't managed to record it yet. Hopefully we'll get together over the weekend to record it. Bye-bye for now.